What if I told you that your body has a built-in cleaning system that can remove damaged cells, toxic proteins, and even prevent cancer? And what if I told you that this system is only active when you do one simple thing? Most people have never heard of it. Most doctors don't talk about it. Yet the science has been there for decades, and the Nobel Prize was awarded for its discovery in 2016. What is this system? How do you activate it? And why is it the most important health discovery you've never heard of? I spent 6 months researching this. I read hundreds of studies. I interviewed researchers. I tested the activation methods on myself. What I found changed how I see every meal, every fast, every hour of sleep. And by the end of this video, you will never look at your body the same way again. But first, let me ask you something. When was the last time your body cleaned itself? Not a shower, not brushing your teeth, deep cleaning, cellular cleaning, the process that removes the garbage that accumulates inside your cells every single day. If you're like most people, you have no idea, because no one told you that your body has a self-cleaning cycle and that you can control it. Here's what's actually happening inside your cells right now. Your cells are factories. They produce energy. They build proteins. They send signals. They divide. And like any factory, they produce waste. Damaged proteins, misfolded molecules, organelles, dysfunctional organelldria. This waste accumulates. If it's not removed, the system, cells malfunction, tissues degenerate, organs fail. You age. You get sick. Your body has a solution. It's called autophagy. From the Greek words auto meaning self and phage meaning eating, self-eating. Your cells literally eat their own damaged parts. They wrap the waste in a membrane, form a structure called an autophagosome, and deliver it to the lysosome, your cell's recycling center. The lysosome breaks it down. The building blocks are reused. Your cell is cleaned. The discovery of autophagy earned Yoshinori Ohsumi the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2016. He showed that autophagy is not random, it's controlled, it's essential. Without autophagy, cells accumulate damage. They stop working, they die. Here's what the research says about autophagy and disease. When autophagy is impaired, damaged proteins accumulate. This is what happens in Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Huntington's. The brain fills with toxic clumps. Neurons die. When autophagy is impaired, damaged mitochondria accumulate. They release reactive oxygen species. They damage DNA. They promote cancer. When autophagy is impaired, your immune system can't clear pathogens effectively. Infections persist. Inflammation becomes chronic. Now, let me tell you how to activate autophagy. Because here's the beautiful thing. You don't need a drug. You don't need a supplement. You don't need a procedure. You need to do the opposite of what most people do all day. You need to create a state of cellular stress. Not too much. Just enough to trigger the cleaning response. The primary trigger of autophagy is fasting. When you don't eat, your cells sense the lack of nutrients. They send a signal. We're running low on fuel. We need to recycle what we have. Autophagy activates. Your cells start cleaning. A study from the University of Southern California found that fasting for 24 to 48 hours significantly increased autophagy markers in humans. The longer the fast, the more autophagy. But even shorter fasts, 16 to 18 hours, produced measurable increases. I tested this on myself. I started with intermittent fasting, 16 hours of not eating, 8 hours of eating. Within the first week I noticed something. My energy was clearer, my digestion was better, my joint pain, which I had for years, started to fade. After a month I tried a 24-hour fast. The next day I felt lighter, cleaner, not just physically, mentally. My brain felt clear in a way I hadn't experienced since childhood. Here's what the research says about the timing of autophagy. Autophagy begins to ramp up around 16 to 18 hours of fasting. It peaks between 24 and 48 hours. After 72 hours, the benefits plateau. More is not better. Consistent is better. Now let me tell you about the second trigger of autophagy. Exercise. When you exercise, you stress your muscles. You create damage. You consume energy. Your cells sense the stress. They activate autophagy to clean up the damage and recycle the components. A study from the University of Copenhagen found that just 30 minutes of moderate exercise increased autophagy markers in healthy adults. The effect lasted for hours after the exercise ended. The participants didn't change their diet. They didn't fast. They just moved their bodies, and their cells started cleaning. Here's what the research says about the type of exercise that best activates autophagy. High-intensity interval training produces the strongest signal, but moderate, steady cardio also works. Resistance training, weightlifting, also triggers autophagy. The key is consistency, not intensity, not duration, just moving your body regularly. I added 30 minutes of walking to my daily routine, not running, not lifting, walking. Within 2 weeks, I noticed that my recovery from exercise was faster. My muscles were less sore. My joints ached less. Autophagy was working. Now let me tell you about the third trigger of autophagy: sleep. When you sleep, your brain activates the glymphatic system. It's a cleaning system specifically for your brain. Cerebrospinal fluid flows through your brain, flushing out waste. This is your brain's autophagy. And it only happens when you sleep. A study from the University of Rochester found that the glymphatic system is 10 times more active during sleep than during wakefulness. The brain cells shrink, creating space for fluid to flow. Waste is removed. Toxins are cleared. When you don't sleep, the waste accumulates. This is why sleep deprivation is linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other neurodegenerative diseases. I prioritize sleep. 7 to 8 hours per night. No screens 1 hour before bed. Dark room, cool temperature. Within a week, my morning brain fog cleared. Within a month, my memory improved. I was forgetting names less often. I was remembering where I put my keys. Here's what the research says about the timing of sleep autophagy. The most cleaning happens during deep sleep, also called slow wave sleep. This is the first half of the night. If you cut your sleep short, you cut deep sleep. You cut the cleaning cycle short. Now let me tell you about the fourth trigger of autophagy: caloric restriction, not fasting. Restriction, eating less overall, not just less often. When you consistently eat fewer calories than your body needs, your cells stay in a mild state of stress. Autophagy remains partially activated. Not as strongly as during fasting, but chronically. A study from the University of Wisconsin followed 2 groups of monkeys for 20 years. One group ate normally, the other ate 30% fewer calories. The calorie-restricted group lived longer. They had less cancer, less heart disease, less diabetes. Their brains were healthier. Their autophagy was more active. Here's what the research says about the practical application of caloric restriction. You don't need to starve yourself. Reducing your calorie intake by 10 to 20% is enough. That might mean skipping dessert, or eating smaller portions, or replacing high-calorie foods with low-calorie vegetables. I started eating smaller portions. I stopped eating when I was 80% full. Not stuffed, not uncomfortable, just satisfied. Within 2 weeks, I noticed that my appetite had decreased. My body had adjusted. I was eating less without feeling deprived. Now let me tell you about the fifth trigger of autophagy: ketosis. Ketosis is a metabolic state where your body burns fat for fuel instead of glucose. You enter ketosis when you eat very few carbohydrates, when you fast, or when you exercise intensely. Ketosis activates autophagy through a different pathway than fasting or calorie restriction. A study from the University of California found that a ketogenic diet increased autophagy markers in mice. The mice ate high-fat, very low-carb. Their bodies switched to burning ketones. Their cells started cleaning. The effect was independent of calorie intake. The mice ate the same number of calories as the control group. They just ate different foods. I tried a ketogenic diet for 30 days. My energy stabilized, no afternoon crashes. My mental clarity improved. My cravings for sugar and processed food disappeared. I wasn't hungry between meals. My body was running on fat, and my cells were cleaning. Here's what the research says about combining triggers. Fasting plus exercise is better than either alone. Caloric restriction plus sleep is better than either alone. Ketosis plus fasting is better than either alone. The triggers work synergistically. They amplify each other. Now let me tell you about the connection between autophagy and aging. Aging is not just the passage of time. Aging is the accumulation of damage. Your cells can't repair themselves fast enough. The waste builds up. Autophagy is the cleanup crew. When autophagy is active, damage is removed. When autophagy is impaired, damage accumulates. You age faster. A study from the University of Texas found that mice with enhanced autophagy lived 20% longer than normal mice. Not only that, they were healthier, less cancer, less heart disease, less neurodegeneration, better mobility, better cognition. Autophagy didn't just extend lifespan, it extended health span, the years of healthy life. Here's what the research says about autophagy and cancer. Autophagy is a double-edged sword. In healthy cells, autophagy prevents cancer. It removes damaged mitochondria. It clears toxic proteins. It prevents DNA damage. In cancer cells, autophagy can promote survival. It helps cancer cells resist treatment. It provides nutrients when they're scarce. This is why fasting is sometimes recommended during chemotherapy. Fasting activates autophagy in healthy cells, protecting them from the toxic effects of chemo. But cancer cells, which are already stressed, may not survive the additional stress. Fasting may make chemo more effective and less toxic. Now let me tell you about the connection between autophagy and immunity. Your immune system is constantly fighting pathogens, bacteria, viruses, fungi. Autophagy helps by delivering pathogens to the lysosome for destruction. This is called xenophagy, a form of autophagy that targets invaders. A study from the University of Cambridge found that mice with impaired autophagy were more susceptible to bacterial and viral infections. Their immune systems couldn't clear the pathogens. The infections became chronic. The inflammation became systemic. When I started fasting regularly, I noticed that I got sick less often. Not never, but less. My colds were milder. My recovery was faster. My immune system was working better. Now let me tell you about the most common mistakes people make when trying to activate autophagy. Mistake number 1. Thinking more is better. A 72-hour fast once per month produces less benefit than a 16-hour fast every day. Consistency beats intensity. Small, frequent triggers keep autophagy active. Big, infrequent triggers cause stress. Your cells adapt to mild chronic stress. They don't adapt to extreme, acute stress. Mistake number 2. Ignoring sleep. You can fast perfectly, exercise perfectly, eat perfectly, and still have impaired autophagy if you don't sleep. Sleep is when your brain cleans itself. You can't out-hustle sleep. You can't hack it. You need it. Mistake number 3. Over-exercising. Extreme exercise like marathon training can suppress autophagy. The stress becomes too much. Your cells go into survival mode. They stop cleaning. They focus on surviving. Moderate, consistent exercise is better. Mistake number 4. Chronic caloric restriction without refeeding. If you restrict calories every day for months, your body adapts. Your metabolism slows. Your autophagy may decrease. Intermittent restriction, like fasting, is more effective than continuous restriction. Mistake number 5. Expecting immediate results. Autophagy is not a switch. It's a dial. It ramps up slowly. It takes weeks to see noticeable benefits. It takes months to reverse years of damage. Be patient. Be consistent. Here's what the research says about the safety of autophagy activation. Fasting is generally safe for healthy adults, but not for everyone. If you have diabetes, kidney disease, an eating disorder, or are pregnant or breastfeeding, talk to your doctor before fasting. Exercise is safe for most people, but start slowly if you're sedentary. Sleep is safe for everyone. Prioritize it. Now let me give you a practical protocol for activating autophagy. Phase 1. Start with intermittent fasting. Fast for 14 to 16 hours per day. Eat within an 8 to 10 hour window. Do this every day, not sometimes. Every day. Consistency matters more than duration. Phase 2. Add exercise. 30 minutes of moderate activity 5 days per week. Walking counts, biking counts, swimming counts. The goal is to move your body, not to exhaust it. Phase 3. Prioritize sleep, 7 to 8 hours per night. Same bedtime every night. Same wake time every morning. Dark room, cool temperature. No screens 1 hour before bed. Phase 4. Experiment with longer fasts. Once per month, try a 24-hour fast. Stop eating after dinner. Skip breakfast and lunch the next day. Eat dinner again. Drink water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea during the fast. Nothing with calories. Phase 5. Consider a ketogenic diet. Very low carb, moderate protein, high fat. This is optional, not necessary. Some people thrive on keto, others don't. Experiment. See how you feel. Phase 6. Reduce calories. Not fast, not keto. Just eat less. Stop eating when you're 80% full. Skip dessert. Replace high-calorie foods with low-calorie vegetables. Reduce portion sizes. Let me quickly recap the 5 triggers of autophagy and the 5 mistakes to avoid. Trigger number 1. Fasting. Start with 14 to 16 hours per day. Progress to 24 hours once per month. Trigger number 2. Exercise. 30 minutes of moderate activity 5 days per week. Consistency beats intensity. Trigger number 3. Sleep 7 to 8 hours per night. Deep sleep is when your brain cleans itself. Trigger number 4. Caloric restriction. Eat less. Stop at 80% full. Reduce portions. Trigger number 5. Ketosis. Very low carb, moderate protein, high fat. Optional but effective. Mistake number 1, thinking more is better. Consistency beats intensity. Mistake number 2, ignoring sleep. You can't out-hustle sleep. Mistake number 3, over-exercising. Moderate, consistent exercise is better. Mistake number 4, chronic caloric restriction without refeeding. Intermittent restriction is better. Mistake number 5, expecting immediate results. Be patient. Be consistent. If this video changed how you see your body, hit like so. Winds of Thought can bring you more science of the body you inhabit. And comment below, which trigger will you try first? Fasting? Exercise? Sleep? Share your choice. Your body has been waiting to clean itself. Start today. Send this video to someone who needs to hear it. Your friend who's always tired. Your parent with joint pain. Your colleague who can't sleep. This information could change their health. Your body has a built-in cleaning system. It's free, it's natural, it's effective, and you control it. Start today.